To be in the big ballroom tonight. It's like pretty and bigger and more windows. I love this room. Thank you all for being here. I'm Kate Lewis. We're going to get started. I'm hoping that John will make his way back in a second. I'll slow my roll. This is my wonderful, fabulous board of volunteers. I got asked twice today if this is my full-time job. They don't pay me to do comedy and to run these events. This is all volunteer. This is free service.
How do you manage it?
These fabulous people are amazing, and they volunteer as well to put 12 programs together for you, one every month, always second Thursday without fail. We will not let hurricanes or pandemics get in our way. We will always deliver. So thank you to these fabulous people. And this is our map. This is our advisory board of CIOs that meet twice a year to give us guidance and advice on technology trends, program topics of interest, speakers. They go to conferences and they say, oh, we saw this really good speaker on this topic. We have this recommendation for you. So these fabulous people help advise us, and we meet next month in October for our fall. Thank you. We have a new national website. It's finally launched. Regular AITP.org. Ours is AITP-RTP.org. So we're back. We're national. This is the history. We're in 10 cities. There's 2 more that might be joining us in Dallas and Nevada, Las Vegas area. But we're really proud to be a part of a national organization with a strong history that is with an eye. And we have a job board. There are a lot of people looking for jobs in IT right now. And how many people in the room are hiring IT professionals right now? Okay. We have a job board. If you want to post your jobs and reach our audience, we would love to have you on our job board. It's really lame and empty right now, and it would be great to have some people take advantage of that. So please have a conversation with me and email me, and let's check out a way to get your jobs posted and reach a broader IT community and IT audience to get those positions filled. And we started a new program. So we started to do some surveys. We've been having some conversations, and we have listened to some feedback. We have a couple of members that are really great at referring AITP and bringing in new members and guests to join us. And so we decided to create a membership referral program that you can all participate in. This is new, hot off the press. Thank you, Brooke, for creating slides better than mine. And so you bringing people and telling your friends and your network about our community here is how we grow, right? And grow by referrals. And there's so many people in the room that were brought by someone else, and that's how they were invited here for the first time, and hopefully they like it, and then they come back, and then they join. And so we started a referral program to help us grow. And this is how it works. So if you bring a guest today, and they are not currently a member, and they decide to join as an annual member within the next 30 days, our next event, then we will give both the referrer and the new member extra months of membership. So the referrer receives 2 months extension on their current membership. So our membership is annually, you pay for 12 months, you get 2 months for free. Who doesn't like a sale or a deal? And then you as the new referee member gets an extra month as well. So you get 13 months for the price of 12. So John O'Connor, who stuck out on me, is our first member to do this program, and he referred Jesse Morgan, who I met tonight. Jesse, my new friend. And so Jesse and John are the first people to have participated in our referral program, unbeknownst to Jesse probably. So, so refer people, it helps us grow. And if you have questions, please see Membership Director Brooke, who's fabulous. Also, why do we do surveys? Well, I probably should have put this slide first. We did a survey. After events, we occasionally do surveys. We occasionally are surveying our members. We just want feedback from you of ideas and ways that we can continue to improve and add value. Hear from you. Last month, we did a survey after the August event. It was our first survey. People were probably caught off guard. I got some questions. Is this anonymous? How honest can I be with my answers? Who will be seeing these responses? So all of our surveys default will be anonymous unless we specify, because we want your honest, truthful feedback so that we can grow. It's only accessible by the board, so we're not going to publish your responses publicly anywhere on any of our pages. And it's really for us to grow. So we're hoping to do a survey after every event, so expect to receive one tonight because you're here. And 1 or 2 times a year to our membership audience to just understand the value of AITP and why they're a part. Good? Okay. So we have new members. Besides Jesse Morgan, who's on my board, which we also have these other new members. I don't know if any of the rest of you are in the room and if I had a chance to speak to you today. And they're probably not going to raise their hand because they don't want to be caught out. If you have a conversation with me, it's fair game that I mention your name up here in the mic. So how do you join as a member? I'm glad that you asked. We have 3 different ways for you to get involved. Our annual membership is the best value. That is 12 months, 12 programs, speakers, topics, dinners, networking, all the fabulous things for the low price of $279. The value of that is if you can't attend and you're traveling, you can proxy your seat. So Steve Eames proxied his seat tonight to his colleague, who's not going to raise his hand because he doesn't want me to know that he's here. But you can proxy your seat, so your seat doesn't go unused, or share it with someone on your team. We have the 90-day membership, which is buy 2 months, get 1 free, which is great for people who are in transition, new to town, trying to make friends, looking for a new opportunity, don't know if they want to commit to a full year with us. And then you can always be a guest and just continue to be as a guest. That's cool too. But what that does is that pays for this room, the food, the drink ticket, the networking, and my salary of $0 a year. The other option is group membership. So we have some corporate members. So sometimes a company wants to join because they want to spread the share passes amongst their team members and use it for continuous education, professional development, recruiting. So State Employee Credit Union, Tracy is here. He was our first corporate group member and has continued enjoying. And so we have several organizations that have joined as a group. They get 5 passes and they can change who comes to each event depending on the topic and the speaker. So if you are interested in any of those types of membership opportunities, please talk to Brooke. And then sponsorship. So did I mention that we're a nonprofit? If you have extra money in your marketing budget or sales budget this year and are looking to support a great IT association, we would love your sponsorship. Specifically for holiday party at the end of the year in December would be great. But there's 4 different ways to get involved at different levels depending on your goals of how you want to use that money and what your plans are for that money and how you want to get engaged. So these are the different ways to get involved, and you can also see Brooke for that. The Making a Course with Technologies as our annual sponsor. I think they're here tonight.
No, his car broke down on the way here.
I know. Well, thank you for sponsoring. All right, so are we ready, John? Right, we're going to introduce John Lane, our speaker today. We're going to talk about culture of comms and how to be a more effective communicator as an IT professional and as an IT leader. John has two companies. He has DBA JTL, and he has a very funny podcast, Work in Progress, WIP, with his partner Will Barfield, where they do organizational assessments of people's personalities and then basically tear them apart publicly on a podcast. Yeah, I willingly volunteer to be on a future podcast because I have a problem saying no things, so I hope to be your guest. Thank you, John.
This thing on? Me an IT guy?
I can find you one.
Round of applause. This is how I start my shows, and you gotta do it. Ready? Where's that round of applause? Be on LinkedIn tomorrow. I'll be on LinkedIn tonight. Well, thanks everybody. I'm gonna hover between back here and there and walk around and stuff. But today we're gonna talk about helping technical leaders communicate more effectively with non-technical colleagues. I'm gonna weave in a little AI. I don't know anything about AI. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about the effect that I think it's having. It doesn't matter. Who knows what a MacGuffin is? I was trying to explain MacGuffin earlier. Yeah, it's the MacGuffin for the presentation. Is that blinking a lot? So this is going to be a practical guide. So we're going to kind of get into stuff. It's a little bit slide heavy, forgive me, but we've got to move through some topics. If I'm ever going too slow, put your hand up. Brooke, put your hand up, and I'll move on. So let's see if this works. Good. Thanks. Appreciate everybody. Brooke for inviting me. Suzanne, Jerome, Kate. Annabelle's home sick. Everyone knows Annabelle? Yeah. Say hi, Annabelle. Hi, Annabelle. Yeah, she just couldn't make it. She was really pushing to make it. And then also thanks for my guests who showed up, Christine, Nye, who else? Anyway, good to see everybody. Thanks for having me. My mom always taught me to be polite and thank people. So here's what we're going to cover. Introductions. I'm going to do a little crowd work. I'm going to tell you why we, I think we is the royal we, because I did all the work on this. My partner can give credit. And then we're going to go through, a little background on the personality assessment I used to get there. And then we're going to get into the main show. A couple of rules of engagement. I'm here for you. Be present and interactive. Ask questions during if you want. I'm going to use slides, forgive me. And then follow up with me afterwards. My information is going to be on the slide. I did a tech thing, so you know how to follow me. All right, so audience, IT people only. Who's in, I did my best to try to segment the audience, but I've never been to one of these, so I don't know. Who is a #1 technical hands-on role? Awesome. Who's in management? Oh my gosh, a lot of you. Suits, am I right? And then support functions. Good. Did I miss any other IT kind of subcategory? I guess all. Good. Well, thank you and welcome. All right, you non-IT folks. So who's a vendor? Got some vendors. Yeah, you raised your hand twice. You think I'm not looking? Okay, good. Consultants? Are you a consultant? All right. Tech sales? Yeah, that's my sales guys. People. Recruiters, HR professionals. Where's my friend? Where did she go? In the back. Okay. Marcom? Others? Look, did I get you? This is really going on.
I used to be one, but I went to some.
Well, what are you now?
Man.
Oh, that's why I booed you. All right, so I'll introduce me. I took this joke off the slide because my wife made me, but I'm now a Peloton before model. This was my, this is my LinkedIn picture and I like it. My wife wanted me to get a professional headshot. Maybe I will, maybe I will. But this is me. I'm a leadership consultant. I use a personality assessment in my work. And what my first goal to do with anybody is to help the leader, the team, the whole company in some cases to discover their personality traits. And then I translate them into communication styles, preferences, and blind spots. And believe it or not, we spend a lot more time on blind spots. That structure I just went through is going to come through in what we talk about. So that means I'm a certified personality assessment analyst. I have one slide on the product. I'm not salesy, but I have to introduce who it is. I'm a public speaker, as you can see. This is a good one. I'm what's called a socially oriented generalist. I want to explain what that is. But socially oriented generalists like being on this side of the microphone. Technically oriented people like you guys typically prefer on that side of the microphone. Not all of you, I'm painting with a broad brush. I'm a fast-talking, recovering New Yorker, so I told somebody if I'm going too slow to speed me up. That's never been a problem, but I do that. And then here's one other thing I'm doing. I am a men's wear pink ambassador for American Cancer Society, so I'm going to talk about that too. Sure. I'll talk about that at the end because there's a little special offer that I'm going to bring up. Okay. So here's my theory of the case. Karen, this is where the AI comes in, so if you're paying attention, if you are, these are the slides to look at. Why I created this class. So starting here. By definition, most IT leaders are what we call technically oriented versus socially oriented, me. And guys, I'm painting with a big brush, big broad brush, so if I stumble over something, let it go. So what does that mean? It's something like y'all are more analytical than social. You prefer facts and narrative, and you dislike being sold to or persuaded. You're often reserved, less inclined to talk first in the meeting. Functionally, that kind of makes sense for what many of you do for a living. I want to talk about career-wise, and things are changing fast, right? So that's why I'm up here today. News alert. AI is not coming for your jobs. It's already here. I'm sure I'm not the first person to do that slide, but maybe my spin's a little different. It's changing your jobs more than taking your jobs. And that's why the communication is so important, because a lot of technology stuff is going to get automated and all these sorts of things. And so your value is going to come from your technological skills and experience and your ability to communicate with people who need to know stuff that you know. Okay, so here's what I see happening. This proves my PowerPoint skills are not super great, but this is just a kind of a standard org chart. And we have our CTO's office sitting out there. What I see happening is because of AI, IT leaders are being required to move much more upstream to business strategy and business decisions. Not to say you're not doing that today, but there are CEOs like who are hearing about AI and they know it's going to affect their business. They don't know how. They don't know what to do. So here we go. I think that IT's office, the CTO's office, is going to be upstream in making the business decisions and communicating with all the other colleagues who really don't know what anyone's talking about, but they're gonna need to. And so again, that's the MacGuffin, that's why, that's how I work that in. That's all the AI there is, Karen, so I hope that's okay. Well, a little more, but, okay, so it's changing the role of IT in business according to me. So I believe that successful IT leaders will evolve into full stack business leaders. Now, I just learned the term full stack, so I probably didn't use that right, but I got a couple of smiles, so that's good. So those with demonstrated communication skills are gonna be in top demand. And technical skills, of course, they're important, but they're gonna be table stakes, right? Getting through the technical side of interviews and doing your role, like that's a given. Now you're gonna need to communicate, and you're gonna have to communicate with people like me. Kind of have no idea what people like me do. So, Peter Thiel, he had a point, I pulled this out, you can read it. He thinks that AI is gonna be worse for math people than for word people. And maybe you all aren't math people, but you're math people adjacent. And so the idea is that things are gonna change on your end, I think, a lot faster than maybe others. So last thought on this, none of us, including me, including Peter, knows where this revolution is going. It's too soon, it's just happening. But we do know that businesses are going to use more automation in the future, not less. So the stakes are high, risk is high. Even if you think everything I just said is BS, you're probably right. Improving communication skills can't hurt your So we'll carry on. So kind of repeating myself a little bit, but to thrive in this environment, you're only going to have to spend more time with non-technical clients, and they're not going to understand a lot of what you do and the impact that they need to, so helping them will be good for the company. Some of you guys can do this already. Others, this is going to be more of a challenge. And so, by wrapping this up, successful leaders who excel will be able to communicate effectively with non-technical clients, and then we're going to get into that. Okay, that's the ramp. Practical guide. But here's the way I break it down. So one is you need to discover your own personality traits. I can't do an assessment for everyone in the room and cover all that. We'll be here until next week. So I'm using generic information that comes from our world. And then we're going to translate those into actionable communication styles, preferences, and blind spots. And then I'm going to show you a couple of simple, practical ways that you can learn to adapt your communication to your non-technical clients. Everybody following? Yeah. Is everybody following?
Yes.
Thank you. This is what I mean. Stop for a minute. I built this presentation for 45 minutes, and I had a 10-minute group thing. I took it out because I didn't have the time. But I want to tell you what it is and tell me how much you would have paid it. I was going to have everybody in IT stand up, turn to someone next to them, and introduce themselves for 30 seconds each. I was just going to stand. And then I was going to go in reverse order. Everyone who loved that, sit down. Everyone was okay. And my theory was that every one of y'all were still going to be standing at the end. And then I was going to say, that's why we're here. Because imagine if it was a room full of sales and marketing people, they all would have loved it. I never would have gotten to sit down. Look at you for some reason. You all would have hated that? No? Some of you hated it? I'm glad I pulled it out. Okay. This is one slide on the assessment. So I am a certified licensed distributor of the OAD software. It's the platform we use. That's where all the data is coming from. So I picked them because I find it to be highly accurate. Pretty much everyone who I've gone through, and some of you are here, have told me the same, that it's accurate. It's super easy to administer. In my consulting work, I can use it to get information like what's going on with the team, but eliminate social desirability distortion. If you come in, the boss comes in, the leader comes in, all right, everybody, what's going on? Tell me. The wheels that are spinning in people's heads, why did she pick me? What does she want me to say? That creates a lot of noise and not a lot of signal. Our process gets to the end point without having to ask those questions. And some folks care about this, that's built to all these fancy standards here, nice logos. I just tell people you can trust the data. So that's it, just wanted you to know where the software came from. Some of you have taken this with me. Who here has taken it? 1, 2, 3. Good, okay, so you know, so you can vouch for me, right? Yes?
Yes.
Big energy, people, all right. So when we talk about OAD, we always start out with the leadership style matrix. I like this because it's simple. It's a classic 2x2 quadrant structure. So I was talking to a technical person the other day, and this slide used to say 4 quadrants, and she stopped me and said, quadrants already means 4. So I've been going around to all my decks and pulling the 4 out and changing that to the quadrant structure. It's overly simplistic though, because there's literally like 10,000 different combination of attributes, and so everyone's different. Even if you're up here, there's lots of different variations, but it's a nice rubric to get going. So in our world, there's generalists and specialists. That's kind of who you are, substance. And then there's your communication style, or just simply style, socially oriented or technically oriented. I'm going to flip you through some of these now. I'm isolating each one so you can get the language down. I'm sure many people are, thank you. Many people are a combination of both, and not always in the extreme, although some people are in the extreme. Okay, so our generalists tend to be independent, they're comfortable with ambiguity, they prefer flexibility in their work, they're venturesome risk takers, they're effective at delegation. Under stress, they'll delegate too soon. Get it off my plate. They're kind of assertive. Writ large, they care that work gets done. In the extreme, specialists are the opposite. They care how work gets done. Well, why is that? When they're doing accurate work in structured environments, they need clarity in their assignments because they're doing skilled work where accuracy counts, right? The tolerances are small. They'll take risks, but they're going to be well thought out in advance. They're hands-on, under stress. They will delegate too late, right? And that's one of the pros and cons of everybody's. They tend to be compliant. Friday at 5 reports are done Friday at noon, right? And again, they care that work, how work is done. We're going to spend more time breaking out socially oriented and technically oriented, so I'll just go through these. Our socially oriented people, as you'd imagine, are social, they're quick to trust, they're open, they have a persuasive, visioning kind of speaking style. They're outgoing, they're social, they like going to social things. They're optimistic. When I bridge across, in our world, technically oriented people aren't pessimists, they're skeptical, right? They're slower to trust because they're analytical, they're kind of straightforward and direct, they have a reserved speaking style, they're very technical. I think it's a lot of you all, and can I tell you, you guys are really intimidating us. So, lighten up a little. Oh, and here's the other thing. I call these my PowerPoint people. I call these my Excel people, right? Kind of shorthanded. These guys love to persuade. You all hate to be persuaded. Right? Send me the spreadsheet. I'll decide whether the facts line up the way you want.
Where's
So,
the realist fit in there?
say again?
Where's the realist fit in there?
Louder, sorry.
Where is the realist fit in there? Pessimist, optimist, realist.
Oh, that's not in our cube. That's not in our cube. But you know what?
It's the thin line down.
Yeah, a technically oriented person would ask that question. Yeah, sorry, and I don't hear that very. All right, so let me put these together for you. So I already mentioned I am a socially oriented builder. I'm in the social oriented generalist. I'm in the builder quadrant. Presumably, I'm confident and persuasive. My partner here, Will, anyone know Barfield? That has Barfield. He is technically oriented generalist. He's an architect. He's what's called a developer. He is direct with high confidence. That guy is direct, let me tell you. We've been working together for a number of years now. So what we have in common is that we're generalists. We're risk takers. My God, we would delegate everything if we could. So we have all that in common. Where we're different is I'm kind of the idea guy. I fall in love with things quickly. We have a weekly meeting. I'm excited to tell him about my 3 new big ideas. And he sits there quiet and he says, hey, John, what about last week's 3 ideas? Those were last week. These are the good ideas, right? And so we balance each other out. And so we have learned to do that with each other in a way that's really positive. I bring the ideas and the energy. He makes sure we don't go off the rails, right? There's this little saying in my chart that says, catch John doing something right. So anytime he compliments me, I know I effed up somewhere, and he's going to call me on it. So, but this is how a socially oriented person and a technically oriented person can learn to communicate. We're going to be talking about these folks and how they can talk to these folks, right? Everyone tracking, is this making a lot of sense? Loving the slides?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. So let's meet our technically oriented folks. Now, I'm going to go through these, and I'm going to define it, and I'm going to ask, put your hands up if you think you're one of them, just so we have a little group orientation. Remember, architects are upper left. They're high assertiveness, lower extroversion, and their experts are direct with high knowledge and higher detail orientation and lower extroversion. So those are kind of terms that I haven't come with you. Okay, let's introduce the architects. So they're technically oriented, very analytical thinkers. Like you see them in meetings and like, something's going on there. They like problem solving, they excel in them. The trickier, the more technical they are, the better for them. I see some smiles. They're known for their self-confidence in technical matters and the structured approach. They're high assertiveness, like you know when there's an architect in the room. Architect. They're cautious with ideas outside of their experience, and so they'll prioritize proven solutions and methodologies. Trying to get an architect to do something differently is not easy because they've thought it through and they kind of know they're smarter than you and they don't want to do something different. They also tend to prefer their ideas more than other people's ideas, right? Kind of who they are. Now, in our world, there's 3. There's developers, entrepreneurs, independent generalists. We're not diving that deep here, so we're staying at the architect level. Every one of these is upper left, generalist, technically oriented, but then there's nuances between them. I don't know if any of this is true. I never met these people, but they're probably in the architect world, right? So Gates, Satya, and Craig Muir. And you can read that below, why they do that. I just wanted to give you all some people, external references to folks who are probably architects. Maybe if you know them, they'll take the assessment. So with that high level definition, who here thinks they're an architect and why? Shout it out. 1. This is torture. Come on, who thinks they're an architect? Good morning. Thank you. All right. Why? Anyone? What resonated with you?
I picked up on the independent generalist part of that to go deeper. It's that conceptual idea of building something, generating ideas, getting to 80% done, not necessarily 100% done, but being able to create.
Very, very much creative. The 3 of them were. I mean, these names probably show that, developers, entrepreneurs, and independent generalists, right? Independent generalists kind of have a hard time being managers because they're kind of focused on what they do, as the name says it, so it's a stretch for them. Okay, good. All right, this is where the slides get a little dead, so forgive me. So we're going to do this, the style, preferences, and blind spots. How am I on time? I don't wear a watch. Am I good? I guess you don't know how far I am. That's good. All right, I'll go fast. So, architect style, super direct, clear, focused on the data and the logic. They'll present project plans, lots of steps. So there's benefits to that in work because it's clear. The preferences are detailed information. Like when an architect leaves a meeting, the thought bubble over their head is, well, that could have been me. Right? So get me the facts, get it down, and go forward. This is the blind spot. So if you're an architect, your blind spot may be that you could struggle to simplify ideas, right? Almost any idea in technology is complicated, so you ask kind of a simple question. It'd be nice if you could get a simple answer, even if we know it's not the whole answer, right? So being able to get that summary down. Also, architects tend to get super focused. You can have a conversation with an architect and then leave and think you worked something out, and they have no memory because they are just super focused on it. And so that can come across as a little bit detached and other words. Where is it? Solution. Yeah, so when you're talking to folks, see if you can figure out analogies or other sort of ways to get people in on the data. And if you're in cross-functional stuff, you got to kind of come out of your architect shell, or nobody will follow what you're doing, and you'll be successful. Okay, experts. Deeply detail-oriented, right? These lower left, engineers, people who know things about tolerances and all that kind of stuff, they're going to come in. I just learned that word, so I don't bring it up. They can write like a really nice technical spec. Like if you're a product person and you've got a good relationship with someone in the expert quadrant, they'll take your story, whatever you produce, and they'll turn that into like really solid spec because they're methodical, they're systematic, they're proficient in tasks that require precision and careful planning. So like getting it right the first time, measure twice, measure 3 times, measure 4 times. They're going to get it right because the structure and the quality is important. To me, the biggest difference between an architect and an expert is the detail involved, right? Experts do what they say, and they say what they do. Like they're just going to do it. They're going to do it on time. They're going to do it the way they said they're going to do it. There's 4 of them: technical specialists, perfectionists, and processors. We had a sales pitch with a company, and everyone wanted us to come in and set a new sales leader. And he didn't tell us, but he had his own assessment. He was going to tank us. But I did his assessment. He turned out to be a technical specialist. We sent him his material. He wrote us back an email where he countered every line item we sent in the assessment. The assessment's 4 pages long. That was a lot of work. I showed it to the COO of the company. Oh my God, this is terrible. He goes, no, that's exactly what a technical specialist is going to do. So while he was denying any similarity to the traits we gave him, that's exactly what he did. So that's what an expert. And you guys are nice. He wasn't nice. Okay, so probably in the expert quadrant, Buffett, Aguila, Tim Cook, they've demonstrated those traits up and up. Okay, now all you folks who say your hands-on roles, I expect you to be experts, maybe. Who is an expert? Raise your hand. Well, say what you're going to say.
So probably, honestly, I think you can trace the whole portfolio. So
that's totally fair. Note the change presentation. You're right, though. It's hard to know what's coming. Yeah, that's true. That is exactly what an expert would say. So you're in the club. All right. Communication style: thorough, precise. Just they're exacting. You ask them a question, you get 3 clarifying questions back. Right? It's just they want to be precise. They like comprehensive explanations. Technical accuracy is important. Experts can be the trees while builders are the forest, right? Just to use that out. They can get very down in the weeds, very deep, because they have to do their job. They couldn't do their jobs without that way. But if their job requires them to communicate what they're doing to non-technical people, it's hard. So that's why people like me exist, right? I'll just jump to the blind spots. Bogged down in details. Anyone feel like they can get bogged down in details? Like you go to write a brief email and you realize it's 4 pages long. Yeah. So that's good, get it all out. But now people call it executive summary. I just do TLDR. If you don't read the whole email, here's 4 bullets to know the basics. So summarize, yeah. And then, if you can use, executive summaries and other, so write that long email because someone who's an expert wants that, but put an executive summary in the top so the rest of us can know whether we need to read the whole thing. Nothing worse than reading a 4-page email and realize there's nothing in it. So summarize that. Okay, that's, in my opinion, who many of you are. That's the front end. Now we're going to meet our socially oriented people, aka your non-technical clients. So we have our builders, we already mentioned them, confident, persuasive, they have high assertiveness and high extroversion. And facilitators are cool. They're strong on relationships and execution, and that's because of their high detail orientation and higher extroversion. You kind of got both sides of this coin. You got the people side, and you have the specialist side who like can deal with different functionals. So like if you're a leader and you need like a senior EA or chief of staff, facilitators make really good, I mean, that's what they're doing, but naturally they're bent on that because they can, get the meetings together, move people around, be empathetic and all that stuff, and then get to the meeting part. Okay, so we're introducing builders. I'm a builder, so apparently we're dynamic and confident. We thrive on innovation and independent thinking, truth. We're characterized by a venturesome spirit. Whenever I talk about myself in this vein, I say I'm the guy who jumps off the cliff and then checks the parachute, right? It leads to problems, but it also, like I get ahead of the curve on a lot of stuff. So, like I said earlier, the things that propel you can also hinder you. Not me, but many people in the build department, they can have authoritative leadership styles. They're persuasive, like they don't understand if you haven't been persuaded. That's when the authoritative kicks in, so that's not great, but that comes with it. And they excel in fast-paced environments. They like making quick decisions. You who doesn't like making quick decisions? Technically are. And so if you're communicating with them and you're laying out all the different paths to take, but just make the decision, right? They care that work gets done, right? And there's 3 of them. There's pathfinders, adventurers, influencers, and negotiators. I happen to be a negotiator. I don't think I'm a very good negotiator, but in this world, I'm a negotiator. Okay. So you said this earlier. Who here thinks that they're a builder? Okay. Keep your hand up. Who here thinks they're a builder and they're a hands-on technology person? Okay. See, that's why I'm painting with a broad brush because I am, but people fall in different buckets. Did you want to say something?
No,
Or you just get your hand up?
I thought you asked us to keep
Yeah. Okay. All right. Probably the builder squad. Branson, Oprah, Steve Jobs. Will and I think this is funny. Will and I, Worker, presented this, and he did this slide, and he goes, Branson, Winfrey. I'm like, who announces Oprah by her last name? Like, she's the original first name person, and Steve Jobs. So we can read that. That's what I think they're probably builders. Oh, we did know it. Who's a builder part? Yes. Now let's do facilitators. Facilitators are cooperative, team-oriented individuals. They do both sides, as I said earlier. They like roles where there's meticulous planning, attention to detail. They like a harmonious approach. Like, you'll never find a facilitator gossiping, right? That's just not what they want. They want everyone to get along, which is awesome. There's drive to consensus. Sometimes you have to take charge and make a decision. Facilitators tend to want to make sure everyone has their voice heard, so their meetings can go a little bit long, and you just want them to make a decision. But they're adept at creating balance and efficient team dynamics. And they can bring, oftentimes they're just, because of their makeup, they can bridge different perspectives, and a lot of times people want to get out of meetings and stuff, they'll stick with it and they'll get that voice heard, and that can change the discussion. There's only 2. There's coordinators and social diplomats. They're really the same pattern in the assessment. The only difference is that coordinators are inpatient, and social diplomats, as the name suggests, are extremely patient, sometimes too patient. So that's the folks that you also want to communicate with, and we're going to talk about that in a second. These folks are probably in the facilitator quadrant. Who are my facilitators? Anyone? Nice. Are any of you chiefs of staffs or EAs? See? Thank you. You get a card. Good. Okay. So we're going to talk about these folks communicating with these folks. To communicate with somebody, you have to identify them in the wild, right? So no, I mean, some of our clients, they take their leadership style matrix and they put it on their door or their cubicle so people know who they are. They kind of roll. But in the world, very few people do this. So you have to know how to identify them. You can do that by observing some behavior, right? So if you're working with somebody and they're just totally big picture, I think of builders as top down, and I think of generalists as top down people and specialists as bottom up. And sometimes you meet in the middle in the right spot, but top down people can be overly optimistic. Like if we only get 1% of every small business in the country, what's 50 million? Like that's not a realistic number, right? It hasn't really thought it through. But they're persuasive and enthusiastic. They make quick decisions, as we know is right. They're comfortable in social settings, and they're doing multitasking and flexibility. More technical culture, like I'm going to time block 2 hours. This is the only thing. Right? It's very true. So if you observe them in the wild, you can now communicate more effectively. This is going to be a little wordy, so I'll try to do it quick. Focus on the big picture. I actually can read and get into details, but if you don't give me a hook, you lost me, right? So get that big picture. Why does it meet the strategy? Why is it good for the company? Why is it good for your pocketbook? Like get that hook. Now I'm listening. Be concise and decisive. Even though you may be not struggling, you're processing through how to make a decision and you're going to talk to these folks, don't share that with them. Get to your decision, be concise, because they like to be convinced, right? So appeal to their enthusiasm. Not every person in sales is a builder. Many people in sales are builders, and that's why leaderboards work, right? A lot of people on the technical side, if they had to see their name on a board going up and down based on their effectiveness, it would make them crazy, right? Salespeople and builders, they love that stuff, so appeal to that. Encourage collaboration, be flexible, right? If you're working with a builder and you're trying to get them to come along with you because they're a stakeholder, but you only give them this way of thinking it through, you're going to lose them. So you need to become a little more flexible, which is not always your superpower. Right? So if you can get there, you're going to get them to do that. How to identify facilitators. Same idea, right? They're detail-oriented and structured. They're team-oriented. They're the ones putting like after-work stuff together, and all of a sudden you come into the break room and it's like birthday month. Oh, who did that? The facilitator did that, right? They're patient, methodical, supportive. Social diplomats are very diplomatic and supportive. Coordinators a little less so, but they're focused on process. Because if you follow a process and everyone plays their role, you get a harmonious consensus out there. So the process does. Now you have to communicate more effectively. How do we do that? Be structured and clear. These are process people. They like breadcrumbs. Give them the breadcrumbs. Emphasize team harmony. This decision is good for everybody. Here's why. Be patient and methodical with them. They'll move with you, like the breadcrumbs earlier. Do that. Allow them time for thoughtfulness. Value the process and details. If they have a way of running a project for the team, feed your project into their process, and it will be a lot smoother rather than trying to do it your way. And invite them for input and consent. They will truly. Builders want the answer fast. Your facilitators, if you tell them, hey, this is halfway done, I really want to get you inside before it gets further, they love that, and they're going to help you out. Coming to the end. Last 2 slides. Key takeaway, architects. I think I've probably done your strengths and what to tell you. I'm going to go to what hinder you, right? So just in general, writ large, you need to simplify, super important. Some of this detachment that you're doing is you're really actually thoughtful people, but to the outside observer, like, is there a pulse in there? Like, having that detachment is good for thinking, but it's not great for group communication. And you have to be a little bit more adaptable, right? Especially when you're talking with our friends, the social worker people. Key takeaways, again, for our experts, don't get bogged down in details. Earlier, write the executive stuff, write the long email, summarize it. I'm sure they're reading it on slide. Without explanation, not the whole audiences, and you might have difficulty in simplifying complex information. So again, use those analogies and other stuff. This is a total lot. I appreciate. Anyone have questions? If you got questions, I have answers.
Can you flip it around for us? So how does a builder then become effective at talking to an architect?
That's the 90-minute part.
Okay.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. We've been. Oh, she's working. Okay, good. That's a great question. Melissa.
So a lot of people, in fact, I think I'm kind of a blend of many of those.
Yeah.
How do I talk to other people when they're probably the same way?
Yeah, so that's a great question. The only way to really know is like to be in a company where everyone's taking the assessment and you know your nuanced part. This is all super high level, so it's hard to pin yourself down. I love the leadership style matrix, but it is binary. You're in one or the other, right? We have this thing we call variation of. It's when the rules don't always match, but I gotta stick to somewhere, right? There's no like fuzzy logic in the middle. But when you've had your assessment and you see your details, like when I do group work, we take the leader, then we go around, everyone sees everyone else's assessment, and we get into the nuance. Not that everyone's gonna remember all of that, but you get that level of detail and you know that. And you're right, a lot of people are mixes, a lot of people are variations on some of these things. Sir?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to present a situation, since you're in AI, on how using AI could improve our communication by the model of the OAD personality assessment. For example, could you perhaps throw a transcript of someone's conversation, whether or not they meet all these categories, and have, like say, ChatGPT say, based on the OAD personality assessment, what group did they fall in, what recommendations would you have, and then submit your own transcripts of conversations. That's how we learn.
My friend and I is laughing because that's exactly what we're doing. Yeah, so we use the assessment, we kind of grind it through some AI, and then we can apply it in lots of different ways. So yes, and you could create an expert chat box by feeding in a bunch of expert OAD assessments from real people, and then creating prompts to say, make a chat box that is like for like super technical engineers that need information from a super technical vendor. And then you could start like 10,000 feet down because it'd be like two people who know all this stuff talking to each other. You can absolutely do that. And you should talk to Vinay because he's doing a bunch of cool stuff like that. Who else, sir?
So there are 1,000 personality tests.
Yes.
So my question is, so you have at least a big five, for example, that you have HR people like, right? And then you have strength finders, you have Myers-Briggs, it's a lot. So do you have any guidance on how yours fits in with the others? I mean, it's a lot.
No. Honestly, there's tons. So let me answer your question. I'm not, like, I've taken years to know this stuff, and I don't know everything I know about mine, so I couldn't possibly know about others. I got a cheat sheet for like sales where I can say, oh, this and that. If a client, here's what I say to a client or a prospect. They say, oh, we talk about this business thing and this is happening, and they say, oh, we went to HR and we have this. I say, oh, really, you have this? Well, they still got this problem. Do you want to talk about solving the problem, or do you want to talk about your personality assessment? I try not to say the word assessment until I've had like 2 meetings with people. because I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. So it's a good question. There's a lot. I talked, when you saw the slide I did at OAD, I talked a lot about those, the standards that we're built to. If that's important to you, and it should be, most of those other assessments sort of fall off, so it kind of makes a decision for you. Last thing I'll say is, I have a slide for when this question comes up. I flip to it, and it's a dartboard with 3 darts in the bullseye. And then I animate it and I cross it out. So we're not trying to be this precise. What we're trying to do is have a common language, experience, and framework where we can all communicate. I don't care about the assessment. I care that my clients communicate better, and they can solve their problems, they can hire better, the senior leadership team gets along, pulls in the right direction. The assessment just gets that stuff done.
Could I answer?
Oh, yeah.
So I've tried innovating with a lot of personality assessments in what I do in terms of business analytics, right? What I liked about this is kind of what you said here is lots of the assessments that I've seen, or diagnostic personality inventories, tend to be very deterministic and say, you are this,
Yes.
and you're now a box. What I loved about this is more directional. It kind of says, you're in this kind of general direction. It kind of gives you some variability is the word that you use in terms of who you are. So it gives you some sort of the space that they operate in, as opposed to you're just a white chair and that's it.
In all honesty, many of the others also have that, right? In terms of diagnostics, things to do, not to do, it's trying to assist, right? There's a whole bunch of them out there that say.
Yes. One more question, then I'll end. In the back.
A quick question. So you have 4 quadrants, right?
Yes, sir.
Identification,
No,
classification.
sorry, you have quadrants.
How do you address a variance of somebody having 2 or 3 or 4 traits?
That's a little harder with the amount of information I've shown, but when you take your assessment, it's very detailed. Did we do yours?
No, I've done the Clifton strengths though.
Sorry. It's hard to answer without that, but everyone's assessment is individualized based on the responses that they selected, and it's very nuanced and detailed. You can be variations of stuff, but you're not going to be 4 things, right? Yeah, I can tell you more about that later. But, it's a good question, yeah. If you see it, then it's going to be easier. All right. One commercial message. Annabelle's not here, but the slide was done. She and I are doing a webinar and a TBD date where we're going to do something like this, but the focus is going to be on helping technical people interview better. So if you're looking for work, or you know somebody who is, we'll get the word out on that. We'll do it as a webinar, we'll record it, be on demand. This is what I do for a living. So we do offer this type of work to individuals and individual managers, people managers. I'll give this talk to any qualified company for free as a lunch and learn. I'll bring you lunch. There's a twist here. I mentioned men wear pink. For $2,500, I'll bring it to your company. You make a donation from my donation page. So you serve a good cause, and that happens. And then the last is, of course, we do this for a living. So we do work like this. Everyone in the room has had their assessment. They've had an individual readout. And now we're getting into the nuance, and we've moved away from the high level of the leadership development. Okay. Follow up with me, please. I was wrong. I thought I was confused. All right. Thank you,
So I did the assessment with one of the companies I'm involved in, and no surprises to the audience, I'm a builder. You're all shocked, yes. But what was interesting was, in that company, there are 4 of us, and we were one of each of the quadrants, right? So like, I was a builder, Ken was an architect, Mike was an expert, and John was a facilitator, or Mike is a facilitator, John is an expert. But either way, like, and we're building this company together, and we all are different personalities, and he showed us how we could collaborate and work well together. So, thank you, John. Thank you for your presentation. So, our speakers get 3-month membership for free, which means you get to join us next month, which is October 10th. which is at Red Hat, not here. This is our annual field trip to Red Hat. The topic is AI, responsible AI, and Scott and Rami are our speakers. So register early. Thank you, Michael Llewellyn, for being our first person to register. The event is open for registration now. Because it is an off-site field trip and they are not as easy to coordinate catering, food, logistics as it is to work with our lovely friends here at the U Club, we will shut down registration on Monday before the event, so October 7th. So register early, it's open. If you want to be there and you plan to be there, register now. Help us get a good head count and accurate head count for next month. And we hope to see you there. And Jen, you get to come 3 months, so October, November, and our holiday party at the end of the year are your reward for being our speaker tonight. And Brooke?
October is sponsored by Beacon.
Oh, and October is sponsored by Beacon Hill Staffing Group, so thank you to them. Was I missing anything else? Okay, good. Yeah. All right. Oh, and go Bills. Thank you, Robert, for letting me know that the Bills are on tonight. All right, have a good night. Bye.